Hello students, I am Saurabh Patra, guest faculty, Department of English, Baharagora College, Baharagora. Today we will be analyzing Heaven of Freedom, a poem written by Rabindranath Tagore. This lecture is for UG Sem 5 students doing English Honours. Rabindranath Tagore was first Asian to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. He was successful in all literary genres. Tagore is to India what Shakespeare is to English. He was the exponent of Bengal Renaissance and was also a social reformer. His best known works are Gitanjali, Gora and Ghore Baire. His elegant prose and magical poetry is one he is renowned for. His mastery as a mystic poet can be seen here in this poem. Heaven of Freedom is taken from Gitanjali, a collection of 103 English poems of Tagore, translated by himself from Bengali. This poem is more like a prayer. It was written towards the early part of 20th century, when struggle for political independence was going on in India. Though this poem, he expresses his vision of India as a heaven where there is freedom of thought, spirit, faith, speech, which will lead to the inner perfection of self. Tagore draws a picture of free nation without any boundaries. Now, let's move to the text of the poem. Where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free. This poem is like an offering to God, a prayer where the poet prays for a country which is heaven of freedom. He prays for an atmosphere of fearlessness, a place where people can walk without any fear of being arrested. In India, people had lost their freedom in all spheres under British rule. They have no self-respect and they were divided on the basis of religion so that British could rule over Indians for a longer period of time. The poet is referring to a nation where people can hold their head high and will have dignity and self-respect. According to him, knowledge should be free to all. There should be no division among the people on the basis of caste or creed. And there should be no monopoly in providing education. Earlier, only the high caste people had the privilege of being educated, whereas in the heaven of freedom imagined by Tagore, people belonging to any section of the society will have free access to education. He wants the people to work with their hearts, which is possible if their minds are free. Where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls. In these lines, he goes on to pray for a world which is not fragmented or broken in the name of religious, cultural, economic, or political issues. Tagore advocated for a world government where different religions coexist simultaneously. He longs for an undivided world where there is tolerance among the people, where words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretches its arms towards perfection. Referring to these lines, Tagore's world is filled with absolute truth, and this is a necessity. A world where people has to show courage, speak truth, and hold it at any cost. If one works hard or strives tirelessly, one will eventually reach perfection or whatever goal is in his mind. Where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the dreary desert sand of dead habit. In these lines, Tagore is referring to the trouble one will run into when they start on a path and with a goal in mind, but then fall into a habit and are unable to reach what they were striving for. One must always be willing to change, to try new things. Where the mind is led forward by thee into ever widening thought and action, into that heaven of freedom, my Father, let my country awake. In the concluding lines, he addresses God as the Father of universe and humbly requests him to awaken our country to such a heaven of freedom where thought is not limited by old age customs and superstitious beliefs.